Hello and Merry Wednesday to everyone. This is Fikasnack or Fikachat about the future of education at KTH. I am Johan. I work at the IT department as a business analyst. I'm joined with Joakim Lilliesköld, who is a program manager for Framtidens Utbildning, and Ines Lopez from Eindhoven. And we will talk quite a bit about different things today. But I first would like to start off with a disclaimer. And this is a discussion between colleagues. It's not the official statements of either university involved. It's just a conversation about things that matter and things that we are engaged in and sometimes also knowledgeable in. But it's important that this is not always the standpoint of the universities in question. We do these discussions live, and we are not super scripted. We have some certain questions we will try to cover best we can, but the conversation is free-flowing, so we can end up in places we did not expect from the beginning. And we try to talk for a maximum of 30 minutes. There's also a chat available where anyone is welcome to raise any questions or put food for thought, and we'll try also to comment that. These broadcasts will also be available afterwards on Spotify, YouTube, and so forth. So with that said, I can start with welcoming you, Joakim. How are you doing today?
Oh, fine. Finally, summer is here.
It is.
So it's a great day, yeah.
We live in a very, interesting relationship with climate here in Sweden. So we suffer for 9 months, and then we forgive everything because it's so great when it finally gets better. So welcome to the conversation, and also welcome to our guest, Ines. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your academic background?
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Ines Lopez. I'm a mechanical engineer by training from Spain originally. I've been at TU Eindhoven since 2022. And I've worked at KTH for some time. I'm still affiliated to KTH at the School of Engineering Science. So that's in a nutshell who I am. And since 2020, I'm a Dean of Bachelor Education at Eindhoven University of Technology, so responsible for all Bachelor Education and education innovation, all kinds of things connected to education.
And you have a passion also for education, teaching, blended learning, hybrid learning. I read up a little bit. You seem to have been quite engaged in it for some time, right?
That's true. As a teacher, very early on, I realized we could improve things. So every time I've been teaching a course already in my PhD time in Spain, I always found something that needed to be to be done differently. So my first experience was recognizing that we don't give enough feedback to the students. So that, to me, that's, if you ask me what is my red thread regarding educational innovation, is how to make sure that the students are activated and that students get feedback continuously. So how do we do that? How do we do this in a way that is fun, that is effective, all these things. That's my personal interest.
And that is a big challenge, how to make it both fun and effective.
Yes, exactly. And I must say, if you start with thinking about this, in the end, it is the obvious conclusion is that blended learning is one of the ingredients you need to make this happen, because students need to engage. Otherwise, you can give feedback, but the feedback is not received, right? They need to be curious or to want to learn. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to design so that they make use of the feedback, and you get that as a starting point in the learning process. Yeah.
Yes. So it's like an evolution. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we also would like to start off with, because you have a connection to KTH, and maybe that is one of the big reasons that we were visiting you last year from KTH, and you were visiting us here in April. So what would you say are your key takeaways from these exchanges that we have had?
Well, I think the most important one is that the work you are doing with the future of education, it really resonates with our own work with the future of education here. We don't have a program with that name, but in the end of the day, we are struggling exactly with the same questions. We are dreaming about the same future, and we saw that very clearly when you visited us. And this was completely confirmed when we visited you recently. And I can name many things. I think in our recent visit, we were very much impressed about KTH innovation, about your big meetings, the Stora Möte, that are visited, that are really well visited. Well, many people are going there. We were very impressed about that. The walking seminars, everyone that was there from Eindhoven, the program directors, they are going to implement it somehow.
Oh.
So or at least that's how they went home. Then reality is always a different thing, but everyone was very impressed about this kind of thing. And in general, I think personally, and Joakim, this of course your main expertise about digitalization, to see that we are really more or less on the same level, same stage of the development. It was really important for me personally, because we agree on this. It is the key. The key for the future of education is having your digitalization process well organized, and your tools and everything.
Since it's two universities now, do you have any sort of, where do we differ and where are we alike on a general level? Just out of curiosity. Because you've been at both places and actually also been affiliated with both. Do you have any, like, this is where KTH is quite different, or are the similarities more similarities than differences?
Yeah, it is a difficult question. I think we are very different in where we are coming from to the point we are now, but very similar on where we are heading. And the main difference now, because of the history of the two institutions, is that at KTH everything is still organized on a school level, while at Eindhoven we have one central organization of education for all schools, all faculties. And that is a big difference for how you do things, how you approach things. On the other hand, we all see, both institutions see, the future is multidisciplinarity. The future is collaboration, and this means that one needs to get all these departments, schools to collaborate. So and for Eindhoven, even if we have this central organization of education, it is still a challenge to get all the different departments or faculties to collaborate. And KTH is also facing this now. So how to increase these collaborations, how to create these networks, how to feed them. I see that as a clear common endeavor we have.
Yeah, I think that it is a very interesting challenge. We see the need to get the students cross-disciplinary, but then the money stream and the funding of student, it becomes a internal competition, and it's much easier to have a competition with an external partner than an internal partner. So it is a challenge we need to resolve here too, even though we organized in a different way.
Yes, so I would say the main, indeed, now that you are talking about money streams, that is of course completely different. and that determines a lot about how you do things. A very simple thing, not simple, I think we are rather jealous about here, is the fact that you can select your students. So you have a limited number of places for each program. We are not allowed to do that. We cannot do that.
Well, I think that was a shock for us when we were there. We did a visit already 2013, I think, around when Bachelor College was implemented, and it was a shock for us when we heard that you took in every student and all the students, and we were just, how do you make this happen?
Yes.
And for me, teaching project courses, how do you do a project course with 2,000 students? Yeah, it was a challenge. Yeah. Yeah, but speaking of that, so you implemented this Bachelor College, and you started off around 2013. I think is right. And now 10 years later, you are kind of redesigning a little. So what is the reason for that, and what are you aiming for in redesigning your Bachelor College? Because you still have to take in all the students, so you still have many
Yes.
thousands of students. Yeah.
Yes, maybe to be precise, just in case someone from Eindhoven listens to this podcast later on, we do have some programs with a capacity limit, but it is a very, the ministry has to agree, so it is allowed in very specific cases. But in general, we are not allowed to have a limit. But going to the Bachelor College, so when Bachelor College started, it was really a revolutionary change. So before that time, every department had their own system. It was completely separate programs, no collaboration, nothing. And then Bachelor College came, and Bachelor College is a concept where all bachelors are organized with the same template. And it wasn't only that. We went from having programs of 180 study points, let's say mechanical engineering. Mechanical engineering determined all the courses there, to a situation where the mechanical engineering program was called the major. It was only half of these 180 study points, and the rest was a set of common basic courses, the same for all students in the university, a large elective space of 60 study points in total, and a program on societal impact, user society entrepreneurship, it was called, USE. And this was a revolutionary change. It was top down, everyone had to do it. And this was the content side, but the format side was that all courses went to 5 study points. Everyone had to have courses of 5 study points. The scheduling was the same for everyone. So you can imagine the scale of this, and this went in parallel with a centralization of the educational support. And this all happened within a couple of years. I don't need to explain what an earthquake this is for a university. So, but it was a big success in the sense of that our student inflow increased. And the main goal, which was to have collaboration between departments and to facilitate interdisciplinary education, was achieved. So we started doing that. Joakim, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, because another reason was also you made a study on that you wanted to broaden your recruitment. So if I remember right, you had a big study there showing that the way we design, we miss out a lot of students, potential students, to come to our education.
Yes, correct. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, yes. That was so. Yes, so we saw we were attracting the, let's say, intrinsically motivated technical person, and we wanted to attract the more idealistic type of broad interested student, and also the ambitious broad interested student. And that was one of the reasons indeed to have this Bachelor College designed in this way, and to attract more women, for example, and more minorities. And in all goals of the Bachelor College, it was a success. So we did achieve the goals, but it was a very rigid structure.
Yes.
So after some time, you start to feel that it doesn't fit anymore, because another good thing that started together with the Bachelor College is investing in education and innovation. So we started very strong investment in education and innovation. And that was also one of the very specific things we did, is starting innovation space, which is our center of expertise for challenge-based learning and entrepreneurship. And with this, we creative or supported a generation of teachers that wanted to do new things, that wanted to do blended, that wanted to do. But what happens is that when you are doing innovation in a rigid system, at a certain point, it doesn't work anymore.
No. But to for everyone to get the timeline right, so you decided Bachelor College, you started Bachelor College, and then you also, the innovation space was started a few years later.
Yes.
And then you got teachers involved in that, and now you're basically growing out of the structure and try to make use of the competence development that happened at Eindhoven.
Exactly.
Is that a way to put it? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So exactly. So because in the end of the day, what you would like to see is that the programs embrace these innovations and implement them in the regular program.
Yeah.
And what we were seeing there is that with the excuse of lack of space, or we only have 90 study points, or we don't have the possibility to do anything new, things were a little bit stuck.
Yeah.
And now with this new bachelor, what we have done is undo part of the changes. So the core programs are larger again, 125 study points. But what we have done is follow your strategy, Joakim, this high alignment, high autonomy. What we have said is, okay, the programs are large, the core programs are larger, but everyone has to implement challenge-based learning in the programs. So now we are taking all these things we have learned the past years, and we are putting them into the regular programs of the students. So they are no longer part of the elective or something which is not compulsory to do. It is really part of the regular plan. That's the big change we are starting now.
But if that means you're pushing challenge-based education to the core subject areas, meaning that all core subject areas need to take a step in. Because I remember back when we did this in electrical engineering here, and first basically the CDIO approach was implemented in vehicle engineering, and electrical engineering said, like, well, we don't have the products, we don't have this, we cannot do CDIO. And then after a few years, it came into mind that, well, actually we can do challenge-based, we can do these kind of things. And then we got it going. And I think that push to get into the subject areas is really important. So that's very interesting you're doing that. And you have a fantastic innovation space to build on.
Yes, and to support
we were really impressed with that. Yeah.
To support this development, and connected to this is the transferable competencies, what we call this professional and personal development. That was also something new that was introduced in 2012 or so with Bachelor College. But it was rather tricky to get it implemented because, you know, engineers of scientists, we are very keen on teaching content. But if we are talking about the more soft competencies, to call it like that, we say we are not competent to do this.
Yeah.
And now in the new bachelor, we are really going to the next step regarding this competence development, and challenge-based learning is a very good environment to facilitate that.
So, but what goes out then when you increase now the subject area?
Unfortunately,
is it electives, or is it the basics, or is it what?
Yeah, in this so in these 60-point electives, we had 15 points which were these societal impact courses, and that has gone away. So now we have 2 smaller societal impact courses, but this learning line we had where students could choose like different topics has disappeared. Now we have a completely free elective space of 45 study points. So that is the price we paid.
Yes.
Yeah.
But hopefully the challenge-based education here, and the challenges they fill a little bit of that gap, I guess.
Exactly. So in the end of the day, what we expect to see is that these sustainable development goals, for example, they will pop up in the challenges. So in the end of the day, you will get it back, but not in a compulsory way, but because teachers want to have it back.
I'm thinking a little bit, what's next? Where are you in the process, and where are you going?
Do you want to start, Joakim?
Well, yeah, I can start a little bit. For us, I mean, for us, we have the program that we talked about here, the Future Engineering Education Program, and it basically is starting off now with we started 22, I think 21 different projects doing this development, and many of them focus on the program structure as well, and especially the 3-year engineering programs that we see a big initiative from basically all the schools to start rebuilding. So we start with the same thing. We need to redesign some of these programs, and then we also see a lot of should we say starting points in digitalization. But we coming from bottom up, which means that all these initiatives comes from the schools. So basically we are trying to get to synchronize the development activities that we normally do better as a university, but we are initiating them from bottom up. So we are not trying to go top down here, but like I said, we see a big investment in our 3-year engineering education programs. And Ines, do you wanna? Yeah.
And what is the reason for this development? Do you want to go to the BAMA system, like to have 3+2 for all your programs?
We don't. We are still doing the 5-year, but with a built-in 3+2. So these are the 3 years that is what should we say, Bachelor of Engineering. It's the more hands-on education.
Oh, yes.
That normally the goal is not that they should read a master afterwards, but that they should go out to work. So those are the programs that we are starting with right now. And I think there is a logical reason. We did a big evaluation of those programs last year, and we could see that they have a lot of challenges, and they are often understaffed, and so there is a need to allow them to develop basically. So that we're starting a lot of work with. I think there is a much bigger discussion if you should abandon the 5-year programs and go fully to 3+2, because today we still enroll students to the 5-year programs, all the Swedish students, and then we take them over to the master program in the last years and mix them with international students, and it is a system that is working. But in some areas maybe we should rethink where we enroll them. But that is one of the principles, and it's more one of these questions we need to evaluate good during this change program that we have. So we see where we're landing. We have all these principles, and we're trying to initiate a lot of activities and take away impediments. But we want the change activities to come from the school and the programs themselves, because if we use them too much top down, we don't think they will not stay. So once we take away the money and then we're back to how it is. And we're doing, I think all our teachers doing a lot of very good development activities as is, but they're isolated islands. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges as I see. How do we get the knowledge sharing to come back to the level it was during the early start of the pandemic? How do we keep that culture? That's a big thing for us.
Yes, I recognize that the getting this community of teachers that are sharing experiences with each other and learning from each other. For us, this is a big challenge for the future. We are starting now with our Academy for Learning and Teaching, For us, as I said, visiting you and seeing how you are doing it was extremely inspiring. So we will definitely use some of your ideas and ask you for help.
Yes.
And the other
Feel free.
thing we see, and we discussed it when we were there, is the lifelong learning part. Lifelong learning is going to be a more and more important part of the role of universities. And we are going to see a shift of types of learners, and a cry for flexibilization, for possibilities to flexibly follow education. You are already doing it. Even the student union has a chapter for lifelong learners at KTH, which we found very impressive. So this is something in the Netherlands which is starting now, now it has started recently, this micro-credential development. But I really think that is the future, and it's difficult to believe now, but there will be more and more future students asking for this.
Yeah, we see exactly the same. And actually, yesterday, Google's CEO was here at KTH, and he talked about that as well. That this is one of the big challenges for the future.
Yes, because indeed, if we don't do it, companies like Google and other companies will do it. Will train their people. Yeah.
We have a question in the chat, and I just will read it, and then you can just think 1 minute each. A key question: are students prepared to appreciate every part of challenge-based learning and the issues relating to the contents of the future of engineering education? One thing we observed during CDIO was that most of the fun engineering things were only appreciated by students that were not struggling with the basics in math, engineering, etc. For other students, it became another burden and only could be changed to primarily. Big question. So are they prepared to appreciate it?
Yeah.
Joakim, go ahead. Yeah.
I can start. I think when it comes to challenge-based, I think it's the same. I think the CDIO thinking here with progression, the way to build up in a study program is, I don't think you can just throw them into a lot of traditional courses and then suddenly one challenge-based. Then it becomes a burden and stress for many students. So you need to start off and building the ability before you give them the fully challenge-based. So you need to take that in step and have a strategy for how to implement it, I think, and give support to the students, because you see that, like exactly like Søren says here, a lot of students get really stressed and irritated in that type of setting, and other really enjoy the process. But we are supposed to develop engineers that can solve the problems of the future. That means that they need to be trained in these kind of things as well. So that would be my answer.
Yeah, I fully agree with you, and I want to add one layer to this, and that is indeed that for certain types of students, for me the question is, how do we design our challenge-based education in a way that they are triggered to dig deeper, so to really learn concepts, and they are supported in this. But I think that the danger with challenge-based learning is superficiality. If the student themselves is not intrinsically motivated to learn, then it is easy to lift with others and not really learn. And that is, for me, for universities, the big question: how do we ensure deep learning in a challenge-based setting?
Yeah. Yes.
And the concept and a framework for this development of this process will continue. And I think, however, our time is up. So we have to revisit this topic together at some point, for sure. It's been a pleasure having you with us, Ines, and thank you so much for sharing and to you, Joakim, for also contributing the KTH perspective. For me, this was a learning trip for 30 minutes. We can only scratch the surface. And of course, anyone who is interested in knowing more can contact Ines or Joakim directly, or us at the Framtidens Utbildning, and we'll try to help you find the information of the person who can help you delve deeper, of course. But thank you so much, Ines, and thank you, Joakim, for taking time during this Wednesday, 23rd, 2023. This was Fikasnack om Framtidens Utbildning. This was a Fika chat about the future of education. We are signing off, and thank you so much also for the question from the chat. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you very much.